straight teeth, complete sets, almost no cavity. Run your tongue across your teeth right now. Feel that. The little crowd in the front, the one that leans, the gap where a wisdom tooth was pulled. Somewhere in your past there was probably a retainer, a filling, or a dentist leaning over you saying you really should floss more. Now picture a mouth that never met any of that. No toothbrush, no floss, no fluoride, no braces, no dentist anywhere on Earth. For roughly 300,000 years, that was every human mouth alive. And here is the part that should stop you. When scientists dig up the jaws of those ancient humans, they keep finding the same startling thing: straight teeth, complete sets, almost no cavities. How is that even possible? You have been told a story your whole life. Brush twice a day, floss, cut the sugar. Do that and your teeth stay healthy. Skip it and they rot. So the logical assumption is that ancient people, with none of that, must have had a mouth full of pain, rotten stumps, missing teeth, breath that could drop a mammoth. But the bones say the opposite. Look at a hunter-gatherer skull from before farming, and the teeth are usually all there, worn flat, yes, ground down from a lifetime of chewing hard things. But the enamel is intact, the gums were healthy, and cavities are rare enough that finding one is worth writing down. Even stranger is what you do not see. You do not see crowding. You do not see the crooked front teeth that almost everyone you know has. And you do not see impacted wisdom teeth, the ones your dentist warns you about, jammed sideways with no room to grow. Their jaws had room, yours does not. Why? This is not a new mystery. Back in the 1930s, a dentist named Weston Price got obsessed with the same question. He traveled the world, from isolated alpine villages to Pacific islands to communities in the far north, and he photographed the mouths of people still eating their traditional foods. Over and over, he found the same thing: broad jaws, straight teeth, barely any decay in people who had never seen a toothbrush. Then he looked at their children, the ones who had started eating white flour and canned food and sugar, and the teeth fell apart. Narrow jaws, crowding, cavities. Price could see the pattern clearly, even if the science of his day could not fully explain it. Something about the modern diet was breaking the human mouth. Decades later, the anthropologists caught up with hard data. A dental anthropologist named Peter Ungar has spent his career reading teeth like a book. In his work, including his book called Evolution's Bite, he lays out the story your teeth are trying to tell you. Your teeth, he argues, were shaped by millions of years of a particular kind of eating. You are not eating a soft roll or a smoothie. You are tearing into dried meat, gnawing tough roots, crunching seeds and nuts, and fibrous plants full of grit from the ground. Every bite is a workout. Your jaw pushes, grinds, and strains for hours a day, every day from the moment you have teeth. And a jaw, it turns out, is a bit like a muscle. Not the bone itself, but the way it grows. Stress it early and often, and it develops wide and strong, with plenty of room. Never stress it, and it stays small. That is the quiet key to the whole mystery. Ancient teeth were not straighter because ancient people were cleaner. They were straighter because ancient jaws grew bigger, and a bigger jaw has room for every tooth to line up in a neat row. There is real evidence for this beyond a single dentist's photographs. An anthropologist named Noreen von Cramon-Taubadel studied human jawbones from populations all over the world. She found that the shape of the lower jaw lines up with one thing more than ancestry, more than geography. It lines up with whether people were farmers or foragers. Hunter-gatherers, chewing hard wild food, had one jaw shape. Farmers, eating softer cooked grains, had another. The food was quietly reshaping the human face across generations. Another researcher, Robert Corricini, went as far as calling crooked teeth a disease of civilization, not an accident of bad genes. A predictable result of growing up chewing soft food in a mouth that never got the workout it evolved to expect. So let's reconstruct an ordinary day inside one of those ancient mouths. You wake in the gray light. You are hungry and breakfast is not soft. It might be a strip of dried meat that takes real effort to tear, or a handful of hard seeds, or a fibrous root you have to gnaw and grind before you can swallow it. There is grit in it, actual sand and stone dust from grinding plants against rock. It scrapes across your teeth with every chew, slowly sanding the surface flat over the years. You chew for a long time, not because you are told to, but because the food gives you no choice. And crucially, there is almost nothing sweet. No sugar, no white flour, no soft sticky starches clinging to your teeth for the bacteria to feast on. The stuff that feeds tooth decay simply is not on the menu. That is the real secret. Not brushing, not some lost herbal remedy. Just a diet that built strong jaws and starved the bacteria that cause decay. But here is where the story turns, and where it gets honest. Because ancient teeth were not magic, and the moment you understand why, the whole picture snaps into focus. At a site in Morocco called Taforalt, there is a cave where people lived around 15,000 years ago, long before farming. And when researchers led by Louise Humphrey examined their teeth, they found something unexpected. Cavities. A lot of them. More than half the teeth showed decay. Why? Because these particular people had discovered something sweet and starchy in the wild. They were gathering huge amounts of acorns and other carbohydrate-rich plants, and eating them so much that their teeth rotted thousands of years before anyone planted a single crop. The lesson is sharp. It was never really about the toothbrush. It was about the food. Give ancient humans a sticky, starchy, carb-heavy diet and their teeth decayed too. You can see the same truth in one of the most famous ancient humans ever found. Ötzi, the 5,000-year-old iceman pulled from an alpine glacier. When scientists scanned his mouth, they found cavities and gum disease. He lived after farming had begun, and his teeth paid the price, so the pattern holds. When the diet was tough, wild and low in sugar, teeth stayed strong. When the diet turned soft, starchy, and sweet, teeth fell apart. No toothbrush required, in either direction. Then agriculture arrived, and it changed the human mouth forever. Farming gave people a steady supply of soft, starchy grains. It was more reliable food, and it let populations grow. But for teeth, it was a slow disaster. The soft cooked food no longer demanded hard chewing, so jaws grew smaller with each generation, and smaller jaws meant less room. Suddenly, there was not enough space for all 32 teeth to line up. They crowded, they twisted, they pushed against each other, and those wisdom teeth at the very back, the last to arrive, found no room left at all, so they came in sideways, or stayed trapped in the bone. The impacted wisdom tooth, that modern rite of passage, is largely a side effect of a jaw that stopped being exercised. At the same time, all that soft starch coated the teeth and fed the bacteria that carve out cavities. Decay rates climb. Then sugar, refined and cheap, poured gasoline on the fire in the last few centuries. Now, look in the mirror. That crowded front tooth is not bad luck. The braces you wore, or the ones you were told you needed, are patching a problem your ancestors almost never had. The wisdom teeth you had surgically removed were trying to grow into a jaw that modern food never let fully develop. Your teeth are not weaker than an ancient human's. They are the same teeth, carrying the same ancient blueprint. They are simply growing up in a mouth that never got the workout, and being bathed in food that mouth was never designed to handle. The mismatch is not in your body. It is between your body and your plate, and that is strangely hopeful, isn't it? Because it means the perfect ancient smile was not a gift of superior genes or lost wisdom. It was the ordinary result of an ordinary life, spent chewing real, tough, unsweetened food. So run your tongue across your teeth one more time. Feel the crowding, the little lean, the gap where the dentist did his work. Every one of those is a message written in bone, from a body still expecting the world of 300,000 years ago. A world with no toothbrush, no dentist, and no sugar. And for most of human history, no need for any of them.